Hello, Sunny Hostin.
Hello, Brian Teta.
Happy to have you here with me today.
Thank
I enjoyed
you.
today's show. It was breezy,
good.
informational. It was fun.
Yeah.
Anytime Whoopi starts singing, I enjoy it.
Yes, it was
yeah,
good.
It was good. I want to get into some hot topics we didn't talk about on the show today.
Okay.
Last night, the Department of Education initiated mass layoffs. It was Tuesday night, reducing the workforce by nearly 50%. Sources told ABC News this. What impact do you think this is going to have? I mean, this is something he did campaign on. He told people he was going to do. It's still kind of shocking.
Look, I think that first and foremost, I'm the daughter of a lifetime teacher.
Me too. Son.
And I've spoken to my mom about it quite a bit. She taught in public schools and also in Catholic schools and in private schools. So she's, taught across just all sectors. And I think it's going to crush those students that need those services the most. Because let's face it, it's sort of a two-tiered educational system that we have in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Those that can pay for a really good private school education and those who cannot. And the Department of Education funds a lot of state schools, private schools as well, but a lot of public schools. And they're taking away things like teacher training. So how do teachers keep up with AI without the proper training? They're taking away kids' food programs. We know, statistics show, that there are, in some neighborhoods, the only times that these kids eat are when they are at school. So they're cutting those programs. And I think ultimately we need to look at intent.
Mm-hmm.
Why attack the Department of Education? Because if you have an entire country of people that are not educated well, you create a permanent working underclass who can't really make a lot of money because they're not trained to critically think. They're not trained to write well. They're not trained in math. And so I think there's a master plan here, and it's really stressing me out because as you know, I say, for me in particular, education was the great equalizer. I grew up in abject poverty, but the one thing I got was a really good education because my mom was a teacher. She taught me at home. They sacrificed to get me into Catholic schools, and they sacrificed to get me into private schools. And, without that, I wouldn't even be sitting here speaking with you. And if you look at the stats for people that vote democratically, they generally are people that are college educated. That those were the polls that came out of this election. And so I think if the Democrats were smart, they would find a way to not only stop the gutting of the Department of Education, but to fund more education for the public. Because I think that could be one of the answers to retaining our democracy. I think it's that important.
It is scary when you see where the test scores in America rank around the world now.
Yes.
It's really sobering.
It's shameful.
Yeah. We had, speaking of what's going on around the world and especially here, we had ABC News' Rebecca Jarvis
She's
with
great.
us today. She's terrific.
Yeah.
Always enjoy when she's here.
Yeah.
And she really helped break down the impact of what's happening right now with
Yes.
President Trump's actions on the economy. What do you make of what she had to say?
Listen, Rebecca and I have been friends for about 20 years. And so I've worked with her before. I've worked with her on Good Morning America. And I text Rebecca and I ask her questions like, where should I put my money?
I think a lot of smart people do. Yeah.
And I think she was dead on. We are probably going to face a recession. I think sooner rather than later. I think consumer confidence is really down. And when consumer confidence is down, people stop spending money. And that is how an economy is affected the most. And I thought she explained that really, really well so that people understood that the fear of losing your job, the fear of not being able to afford things has such a ripple effect in our economy.
It's insecurity.
It's that financial insecurity, but consumer spending is what runs this country. As opposed to the 1% of billionaires that are getting tax cuts. And this trickle-down theory, Reaganomics, but if you give the people at the very, very top the most money, they will hire people below them in economic people below them economically, but that is not ever what happens. They just reinvest in their companies. They just reinvest in themselves, and they hoard their wealth. I mean, that's been the case. And so the fact of the matter is, when you're not getting your tax cuts for the middle class and for the lower class, those people have less money and the entire economy suffers. It is very sobering what she had to say.
It's great to have someone here really explain things, because most of what I know about tariffs comes from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Mine too.
Yeah, so something D-O-O
we like the
economics.
same types of movies,
yes,
though.
Voodoo economics. All right, let me get your take on this. Under pressure from Republicans, Washington, D.C. is removing the Black Lives Matter mural.
Yes.
This is after a Republican congressman introduced legislation threatening to withhold millions of dollars of federal funds from the city unless the mural was removed and the plaza was renamed.
Yeah, it was extortion. And what was Mayor Bowser going to do with that? The city can't run Washington, D.C., a city that I worked in for almost 10 years. I was a federal prosecutor in D.C. The city cannot run without government funding, without federal government funding. It just cannot. It cannot have representation. It cannot do anything. I'm saddened by it, because I do think that the Black Lives Matter movement has been co-opted, and they're trying to erase it, obviously, but it's probably the second most important civil rights movement in American history. The first, of course, being which resulted in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And then the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So I'm devastated by it, because it's just a continuation of the erasure of American history. Of course, I take it a little personally, because one of my closest friends is Alicia Garza, who wrote the letter that started the Black Lives Matter movement, and she is one of our thought leaders of our generation. And so I'm saddened by it, but let's be clear, this was extortion. Take it down or lose federal funding. Right. And we're seeing that same thing at Columbia. We're seeing that, and we're going to continue to see that same type of extortion across the country.
So you don't blame the mayor, because she had no choice, really?
No, I don't blame the mayor.
Yeah.
I think the mayor did what she had to do for the district.
You said that the Democrats are missing the mark with a certain group of people in this country.
Well, they're not meeting the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's for sure. What's interesting to me is that no Democratic president has won without the support of the black base, ever, in the history of the country, right? And so for some reason, there is this notion that there are these moderate voters in the middle of the country that are suddenly going to vote democratically because of, I don't know, a moderate message like the one that was given in the rebuttal to the joint session of Congress, even evoking Reagan. I just think that's a ridiculous strategy.
You think those people don't exist, or they can't get moved, or what do you think?
I think it's a combination. I think that there's just like ethereal, moderate middle class that Democrats seem to want to get. Democrats should be the party, has always been the party of the working people, the working class, and most of the working class in the federal government are African American and Latinos. Most of the working class, when it comes to the service industry, are African Americans and Latinos, and so they're not like these. I don't know what this messaging is. It's just they are not meeting the moment. This is the moment for an opposition party, not a moment for moderation, because the other side is not moderate. The other side is extreme. You must meet energy with energy. And Democrats are flailing, in my opinion, because they're putting people up like Senator Slotkin, which I know people thought that she did a great job. I did not. I wasn't moved by her messaging. I was moved by Congressman Al Green, who stood up for his constituents, and said, I am willing to be censured for it. I'm willing to have a blemish on my record because my constituents need their Medicaid. That's what I want to see. That is an opposition
So I think the theory is that the Democrats got too progressive. But is there a
Did they really? Is it progressive to want Medicare? Is it progressive to want Social Security? Is it progressive to want Medicaid? Is it progressive to want a higher living wage? Is it progressive to want mandatory pre-K? Those are progressive ideas, really?
I guess my
Equity?
question would be...
Is it progressive to want diversity? Is it progressive to want equity? Is it progressive to want inclusion? Well, then hell, I am really, really, really a Catholic progressive. I am so progressive because I think those things are human rights. Is it progressive to want universal health care? That's too progressive? Okay, so when your Medicaid gets taken and your Medicare gets taken and your Affordable Care Act gets taken, let's have this conversation again.
It's funny because you bring that up because occasionally I will read things...
It's ridiculous.
Occasionally I will read things where they say, why doesn't The View have a true progressive on the show? Why don't they have someone? And I say, well, what do you... I mean, Sunny Hoskins is more progressive than most people in our audience have ever met.
Yes, but I'm also pro-life because I'm Catholic.
Right, but you're also in many ways socially, I wouldn't say conservative, but
no,
somewhere more moderate.
I'm moderate.
I guess my question would be, is there a way that Democrats can drop the label of being ultra progressive, whether in your opinion they are or not, but still take care of Black voters, Latino voters, and
they
do
can
both
say
those
what
things?
I just said.
Yes.
And we didn't do that in the rebuttal, not we, but that was not done in the rebuttal to the joint session of Congress. That message was not out there. We care about these issues. Is
there anyone that you see right now that you would say, like, this is probably the person to lead the Democrats? Because they don't really have a leader right now.
Well, there's someone that's called the minority leader, and his name is Hakeem Jeffries. I did go to college with him, and I have met with him in the past couple of weeks, and I think he understands the message. I think there are a lot of leaders, quite frankly. The question is not one of leadership. The question is one of messaging. Right,
but the leader ideally helps shape and determines the message a little bit.
That is Leader Jeffries' message.
Yeah,
for sure. It's just a matter of getting the message out.
Well, I look forward to him coming back on the show.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Well, he's willing to. I asked already.
Yay! We have Chuck Schumer coming on shortly too, so that'll be good. All right, let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
We've been talking on the podcast this week about if any of the View hosts, if given the invitation, would go up on one of these Blue Origin flights like Katy Perry and Gayle King are about to do. So I figured you were the one I immediately scratched off because you are, of course,
I'm very risk averse. And, I love Lauren Sanchez. We're text buddies. I've been to her home. I dig her a lot. I'm really impressed by the fact that she is a kick-ass helicopter pilot. I don't know if people realize that. Like, she's a pilot, a decorated pilot. But I'm not like going to space, man.
Yeah.
Like I
and you like science fiction, and you like
I love
things like
science
this.
fiction, but I want to see it on television. Just like I love animals, and my friend just tried to take me on a safari so that I could be right next to a lioness who saw me as prey and wanted to eat one of my fingers. Like, I don't enjoy anything that looks risky, and flying into space.
I remember you refused to do the surfboard thing in the Bahamas when we did that.
I'm not going to do that so that I could break my nose.
Yeah, you would. Yeah,
that looked crazy.
Like the machine that makes it feel like you're surfing or body surfing.
I don't want to do that either.
No, it would have been fun.
Why? I mean,
I couldn't get you to paraglide.
Yeah, I love Gayle, but just Gayle, let's just go and go to a spa and then have some cocktails.
I respect it. I respect that you're doing
it. Just chill.
I like it.
Let's read a book.
Do you think any of the
that.
Do you think any of the hosts will have told me yes that they would do this?
Sarah Haynes would do something crazy like that.
Sarah said yes. I cold called her, pretended she was actually invited on the podcast with Joy, and she said yes.
She would totally do it.
Yeah. I got a hell no from Whoopi.
Yeah, no, Whoopi's not going to do it. Joy's not going to do it. I'm thinking Alyssa would do it, and I'm thinking Anna's a hell no also.
Anna was a hell no also.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to do it. I would go with any of you, and I mean, I think I'd probably get sick and not enjoy it, but I think I couldn't say no to space.
No.
All right, you posted this video yesterday, which is amazing. I saw it. It's Manny dancing with Paloma at her Sweet 16 party, which feels like it was yesterday that she turned 16.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
It was really sweet to see them dancing together. Tell me how all that
it was.
happened.
It was interesting because some people don't know, Paloma is an American Ballet Theater trained dancer. Since she was a little girl, she was actually invited to the pre-professional program without audition, which is like a huge thing. And what a lot of people also don't know is that I was also a trained ballet dancer.
Listeners of this podcast know it because it's come up, but yes.
So like Paloma and I know how to dance, and like
Right.
I take line dancing classes, and I love to dance. And if I see a dance, you know, on Instagram or whatever, I learn it. Like the Tamiya dance. Manny is not a dancer, and like it freaks him out. He's a proficient dancer and can learn a dance, but it takes him a long time to learn a dance. Gabriel is actually also a fantastic dancer. So Paloma says to him, Dad, I want to do a father-daughter dance for my Sweet 16. And we had like 200 people there. You know, it's
an
actually
event.
it's a Puerto Rican tradition, actually. You know, Mexicans do quinceañera. We do Sweet 16.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do Sweet 16. So I had a Sweet 16, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, okay, like a waltz? And she's like, no. A Justin Bieber dance to I get my peaches down in Georgia.
Yeah.
The fear on that man's face.
I would have it too.
It was unbelievable. So one day, like 2 weeks later, we have a small gym that we've cobbled together in a bedroom. Manny comes down from the gym looking like he has worked out for 3 hours. I'm talking sweating. He's got athletic gear on, man. And I'm like, oh, wow, did you just go for a run? He's like, no, I'm learning the Justin Bieber dance. Can I practice it in front of you? And it was so horrible and so terrible. And I was like, can I? Okay, well, no. Okay. And I was trying to help him, and it was so terrible. So that day, he was not having a good time. Paloma was panicked for him. They were both sweating. They had anxiety sweats. And we did that. They did the dance earlier than they were supposed to because they needed to get it out of the way.
It was ruining the night.
It was ruining their
nerves.
night. And then I sat and I watched him, and he got it. And I was flipping through my phone, and I just remembered it, and I was like,
Well, that's what
I
being a dad is.
I gotta post this, because he worked. The dude worked like hours.
Yeah.
On a kind of simple dance.
Listen.
Have you seen it?
That would be my worst nightmare is being asked to do that.
It's like a 2-minute dance.
I thought you did great.
It's really easy.
I don't think I could do it. So for my wedding, Heather wanted us to have a nice dance.
Nice dance, like a surprise dance.
Yeah, and we went to I went to a dance teacher in like Lincoln Center.
How'd you do?
Horribly. I this older, probably younger than I am now, older Russian woman got so fed up with me, she basically threw me out. It was horrible. I stepped on her feet. I stepped on my wife's feet.
It's just not your ministry.
It's just not my thing. I can do as Billy Crystal calls it, the white man overbite.
Okay.
You know, I can do something, but it's
you can't really.
I can't really dance.
You can't dance.
I can't dance. My daughters are both competitive dancers and love it, and my wife was too.
You gotta love it, but I gotta tell you, like sometimes you're just born with movement. You know, like my kids can pick up a dance very quickly, I can.
I can hit a baseball. There are a couple things I can do, but I'm just not there.
Yeah, Manny is just not a dancer.
No, but God bless. I mean, he's an athletic guy, and he learned it for his daughter, and I would try too. But
he did, and he learned the Tamiya dance for me.
Oh, really?
Because I wanted to do that one.
Oh, see, that's a good husband. All right, before we go, I wanted to mention this and thank you for this. We had students here from my alma mater, Muhlenberg College.
Yes.
Where, which is something I was very excited to do. We had about 24 kids here.
They were really cool.
And we did a panel with you and some producers after the show, and you spoke to them.
Yeah.
What was the advice that you wanted those kids to who were looking for jobs in television at kind of a rocky time in the industry?
Yeah.
What would you like them to know? What did you want them to know?
I wanted them to realize that your path is not necessarily linear, especially in this industry, that there are so many opportunities out there that you may not think can get you to the next place, but can, and that you can learn just about anywhere. And I also wanted them to take away the art of the pivot. If something is not working out, figure out a way to pivot to do something that you love, something that you're passionate about, and that you learn more from failure than success. And I also wanted them to hone and refine the art of networking, not only with people that are in jobs that you want to be in, but also with people that are coming up with you, because those people may learn about opportunities. And I know you know this, but when we left, when we were ending our Q&A, I said, this is my email address. I often give it out to students that I speak with, and rarely does anyone email me. And I saw them writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the 24 students, only one did. But she did it yesterday.
There we go.
And I emailed her back.
Smart kid.
And so, that was those were sort of the takeaways for me, because I remember at that age, I graduated from college. I was a waitress at Fridays until I got fired because I was trying to figure stuff out. And had someone in journalism, I wanted to be broadcast journalist, if someone said, here's my email address, or we didn't even have it then, but here's my phone number.
You would have taken that.
I would have taken it and called.
No, that's the thing. You have to take every opportunity because they're rare.
You just never know what's going to become of it.
Exactly. Well, thank you again for doing it. It was great.
It was
they really
pleasure.
got a lot out of it. I enjoyed doing it, and
it was fun.
I would have killed for something like that when I was in college.
Right?
So yeah,
only one so far.
All right, give them time. It's been 24 hours.
It's been too long.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
all right. Well, maybe they're doing like the dating thing where you wait a couple days.
That's not a good move.
All right. I agree with you. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today, Sunny.
Thank you, Brian.
Tomorrow, I'll be back with Alyssa, and journalist, author, and podcaster Kara Swisher returns to the podcast.
Yes.
She's great. And she'll be on the show, of course, too. We'll see you then.